Hello folks and welcome to my 2019 Christmas message. Merry Christmas. I'm actually recording this on Christmas Day. It's 10 to 12 Christmas Day, and that leads into answering what will probably be the first question that everybody has when they open up this video. Kev, when are we getting the present opening? When are we getting the Christmas Day videos? All that kind of stuff. Well, as you can tell by the fact I'm recording a video in my garage on Christmas Day, it may be Christmas Day for you today. It's not Christmas Day for us until tomorrow. Obviously, the girls live between here and their mum's house. They take it in turns which house they spend Christmas at. This year, they're having Christmas at their mum's house, so we just move everything back a day. So we're doing our Christmas tomorrow. So don't expect a Christmas Day vlog tomorrow. In fact, don't expect a video at all tomorrow. There's not going to be one. But from the next day, so from the 27th, we'll have the Christmas present opening on the 27th. We'll have probably the rest of Christmas Day on the 28th, probably some kind of Christmas games night on the 29th. And then we're very, very close to the end of the year and all of the exciting new stuff that I've got planned for the channel in 2020. There will be a new video on that coming out at some point in the next week or so, maybe even New Year's Day. That might be the day to release my full plans for what's going to be happening in 2020. But I assure you, it's going to be awesome. So if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, notifications on, all that kind of stuff. Although, to be fair, why would you be watching this Christmas message if you weren't already subscribed? I guess it could be that there's no other videos coming out on YouTube today, because I've sat there this morning trying to find something to watch. And it's almost as if everybody's having a day off. So maybe this is the only video appearing on YouTube today, in which case, welcome to the channel. Yes, there is a blue portal on the back of this shirt, and that's the kind of thing you can expect from this channel. But the way we're going to be doing our review of 2019 is, I think I've done it on this channel before. I certainly do it on my Football Manager channel every year. We're going to be using the TubeBuddy year in review thing. It's a thing. We're going to jump over to that now, and I'll explain more about it. So this is the thing. If you don't know what TubeBuddy is a website that I use to, it basically helps me with all of the tags and titles and all that kind of stuff, and search engine optimization that I do on both of the channels. I've been using it for about 3 years. This isn't an ad or anything. That being said, there is a link down in the description below, so you can sign up for TubeBuddy if you have a YouTube channel via my affiliate link. But that's not what this is about. This is because this year in review thing is awesome. And the year in review thing, if you've got a channel, it's free to do. And I've done it every year that I've been on YouTube, and I find it a really cool way to sort of review what's gone on in the year. And before we get into it, I've not looked at it, so I don't know what it says. To me, 2019 on this channel feels like we've lost our way a little bit. Through no fault of any of you, it's been absolutely me kind of losing interest in doing what we'd spent a couple of years doing. We had been vlogging for nearly 3 years when I stopped it at the end of October, but I don't think really my heart was in it certainly from the summer onwards. I was looking for alternatives and not really enjoying what I was doing. And then we had the whole copper thing come through, and it's kind of pushed the decision-making process a little bit further ahead than it perhaps would have been ordinarily. So I think we're about to see that I've trimmed the herd a little bit this year. I expect the numbers, all the growth numbers, to be lower than they were the year before, purely because I've kind of smashed growth in the face over the last 3 or 4 months. And you can see by the views we get on a daily basis now, we are just down to the absolute hardcore 5,000 or 6,000 people who watch every day. And my goodness, thank you very much for your support, you hardcore, awesome 5,000 or 6,000. But we're not getting 10,000, 15,000 views a day anymore. And it's because we're in that transitional period. I'm fine with it. I said on Twitter yesterday, I'm not looking for huge subscriber growth, huge view growth on this channel at the moment. What I'm looking for is to transition into making the kind of content that I want to make when I want to make it, and to bring as many of you along with me as want to be a part of that, to say goodbye to the people who are perhaps here for something different that they're not really going to get anymore, and then see where we are at the end of that transition process and look to rebuild and start to grow the channel again from there. So it's a weird sort of transitional period for the channel, and I think that'll probably be reflected in these numbers. But if we click on this channel, I'm going to turn the sound off because I did one of these for my Football Manager channel yesterday, and the sound is annoying. So let's just get into the animation, and then we'll analyze it a little bit and see what we think of it all. So going all the way back to the start of the year, this is where we started 2019. So just under 75,000 subscribers. We'd had over 15 million views on the channel. The upload thing is wrong. I've not uploaded 25,000 videos. No chance. These are our biggest videos of the year. So back to school haircut, 95,000 views. Andy's morning routine, 110,000 views. And Andy not liking the change of routine, 166,000 views. Spot the common theme amongst the popular videos. This is the comparison year on year. And this is what I was talking about before. Obviously, those numbers are a lot smaller than they had been in the previous year. And that's where we end the year. Still, I would say still a very good year. But obviously, 2019 hasn't quite been up there with 2018 for growth and momentum on the channel. So if we just jump back up to this is really interesting. So in 2018, we added 48,000 subscribers to the channel. This year, just 20,000. I think the figures there are slightly skewed by the fact that the vast majority of those 48,000 that we added in 2018 were for the Back to School Meltdown video. And I think looking back over the history of the channel, I kind of wish I'd never made that video, because I think it boxed us into a certain type of content that I never actually intended this channel to be about. And I've kind of spent the last 2 years since that video came out battling back and forth between, we've built this audience off the back of this video and this is what this audience wants. And whenever I make anything that's not this, it's not as popular. And we kind of came to rely on the views and obviously the ad revenue that's attached to those views. And every time I tried to do something a little bit different, it cost us financially. And I did slowly become more and more sort of penned in by accidentally building an audience that was here for autism content without actually ever intending to make that as my daily thing and not really enjoying making that kind of content. If you look back at the history of the channel, if you go back to the first 9 months of the channel, it was very much the story of my day-to-day life. It was me working and trying to lose weight and then transitioning into Andy's story of really struggling at school and how he hadn't been to school for a long time and how I then decided to give up work to become his carer. And it was all logical story told from my point of view, and it was just my day-to-day life. And it just so happened that because the vlog started around about the time I was giving up work and he was having some real struggles, that Andy slowly became more and more a focus of the channel. And it kind of peaked with that back to school video where I think it's closing in on like 3 million views now, which is absolutely insane. But from that point onwards, whenever I then tried to go back and make the kind of content that I was making before, so I used to do a lot of business-based stuff. I used to do a lot of just general like motivation, being a functioning adult, how I got where I am, Kev stuff. And I couldn't do that anymore because every time I tried to do it, no one would watch it. And if people did watch it, they'd hate it and they'd moan about it. And as much as you try and separate yourself from that as the creator and you try not to just pander to what everyone is looking for, it feels good when you get 100,000 views on a video and everyone's telling you how great it is and how much they love it, and you get all the thumbs ups and all the nice comments, and you can see the channel's growing, and it feels good, and you kind of, it almost becomes addicting. And I definitely got caught up in that and spent the next year battling with myself between making the kind of content that this audience that we'd accidentally built wanted compared to the kind of content that I enjoyed making. This isn't what this video is supposed to be, but let's talk about it now. Why not? And yeah, that's kind of where we ended up. And it got to that point where I decided, look, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm gonna start making the videos that I want to make. And if we end up losing views as a result of it, then we end up losing views as a result of it. It's not like this channel is my full-time job. This channel is, I mean, all our bills are covered by the Football Manager channel. If this channel went away completely, we would do okay. We would be skint, but all our bills would be paid. We wouldn't be able to do stuff like Disney trips and fancy days out and all that stuff anymore. But which would obviously be a bummer. But we didn't do that stuff before this last year and a half anyway, because we could never afford to then. So it's been a nice to have bonus having this channel. But if it did close down tomorrow, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I don't want to close it down because I originally started it for a reason. So I want to keep the people who are here for the kind of content that I want to make, and see what we can do. See if you like the kind of stuff that I wanted to make all along. And that's certainly what we're going to be moving on to doing in January. But I think because I've been so conflicted with how I put that message across, I've kind of accidentally started scaring people away anyway, just by coming across as a little bit whiny and a little bit indecisive and not really knowing what I want to do. Where all along I've known what I wanted to do. I've just been afraid of the backlash of doing it. And I think that fear has finally gone now. So that explains why we had far fewer new subscribers this year. And I suspect that number will be even lower in 2020. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this time next year we still haven't hit 100,000, because although I do expect my new content to be really cool and I think it will be popular with the audience that it's intended for, and I think ultimately it will end up having a bigger audience, I think there will be a lot of resistance to the changes from some of this 48,000 people who arrived because they wanted to see Andy having a meltdown or whatever they wanted to see off the back of that. And I think there'll be a lot of people leaving the channel, which it'll be interesting to see whether they leave as quickly as the new people arrived. If you're not going to like the change of direction, unsubscribe today, and then you don't have to ruin the 2020 figures. Views wise, we still didn't do too bad, and I think this also is quite interesting to look at, because yes, that meltdown video brought in a lot of viewers, but actually it didn't bring in that many views. So there was a lot of people who watched that one video, subscribed to the channel, and then never came back and watched another video. Despite the fact we've got 95,000 subscribers on the channel, we have never consistently had more than about 10,000 views a video. A typical video, the highest our sort of typical daily average got was about 10 to 12,000. Probably in the summer of this year, we knew I could put out any video and it'd get like 10, 12,000 views, and it didn't matter what the video was. That was our sort of core daily audience. And if we put out something really interesting, like when we went to Centre Parks or when we went to Disneyland, it might bump up to 30 or 40,000 people. And then if we put something out that I knew was particularly clickbaity for the genre that we'd found ourselves in, then it would get six-figure views. And generally stuff to do with the challenges of being an autism parent, anything where Andy looks like he's struggling a little bit, they would get big views. But obviously I wasn't deliberately going to do that kind of stuff, because you can't build a channel, at least in good conscience. I don't think you can build a channel off the back of your kid who is struggling. And I don't think it never sat right with me. I was never comfortable doing that, even when it appeared like that might be what I was doing. It was always very conflicted, and there are some videos on this channel I'm not proud of that I might just take down. Might just take them down. That might ease my conscience a little bit. So we never really got this bunch of people to watch our day-to-day videos. They were just here for the disasters. If I put a meltdown video up, you'd be sure they'd all watch that. If I put something like that up, you could be sure they would watch that. But they weren't going to watch the day-to-day family life stuff. And that, I think that's reflected in the fact that despite us having far more subscribers this year because of this happening, in actual fact, views were pretty similar, 11.5 million to 9.5 million. Yes, we lose 2 million views there, but you could just say, let's take that meltdown video out, the big one. That had 3 million views on itself. We were never going to replicate that. So if you take that video out of the equation, views on other videos, we actually had more, despite the fact that we weren't bringing in new people as much. And I think that's where my sort of conflict with how to run the channel really started to hammer home, because I started to make content that was just for the existing subscribers. If you look at our analytics in detail, you'll see that less than 10% of our views come from people finding us from search results or stuff like that. I don't tend to make my videos very searchable on this channel because of what the content was about. It was usually content about being an autism family, and I didn't feel comfortable clickbaiting that and pushing that out there to new views. So we weren't bringing the new people in, and that kind of became self-perpetuating, where I would just make the content that I knew the people who were already here would give me a pat on the back about. It was almost like I was hunting for the well done, Kev, this is a good video, from the people I knew would say that to me. And it became more about that than about growing the channel or about the money or about enjoying what I was doing. It almost became a training a dog, giving the dog his little training treats for, I'll make a video that I know this certain group of people will enjoy. They'll pat me on the back about it, and then I can do it again tomorrow, and it's a nice little ego boost. And I eventually saw through what my brain was doing to me, and that's where we made the clean break in November. So yeah, these figures, very interesting. They'll be even more interesting in the coming year. But this is still impressive figures. I don't want this to come across as a really whiny video. And anyone who already thinks it's a whiny video has already stopped watching, thumbs downed it and said it's a whiny video in the comments. But those of you who have stuck through to the end, you're the ones who deserve the big thank you anyway. So thank you very much for my confused little channel that's never really had a goal. I tweeted out yesterday that I made a content plan for this channel for the first time, and I'm really excited about what we'll be doing in January. But I've never planned the content before. I've very much spent the last 3 years waking up with a camera and then recording what happened and editing it that night or the next morning and releasing it and seeing what happened. And somehow nearly 100,000 people felt that was worth subscribing to. And there's been nearly 25 million or over 25 million instances of people watching one of these weird little videos that didn't have a lot of structure and didn't really seem to have a coherent narrative running through them. And thank you. That is awesome. That tells me that we're on to something here, that there are people out there who are going to enjoy what I do, even if it's not what I've done before. And it's not. I mean, if you were here in spring of 2017 when we first started, the channel is going to start to look a lot more like that again. So if you want an idea of what the channel is going to look like in 2020, go back and watch the first 100 videos, because we're definitely going back to basics. We definitely won't be daily vlogging, but the tone and the feel of the channel and the little snippets of creativity. I think some of my best videos were made in those early days when I was still working full-time as a teacher, which seems mad to say, but they were. There was some really good stuff that we made back then. And yeah, it's going to feel a lot more like that again, I think. But thank you to everyone who's part of the 95,000 who subscribed. Thank you to everyone who's part of the 25 million who viewed. Thank you to the 315,000 people who've liked videos, 61,000 comments, nearly 9,000 shares. That's a huge and insane number. And just thank you to everybody who's supported this channel over the last 3 years. It's been a struggle at times. It's been so much fun at times as well. And as much as my silly brain has had its struggles creatively and stuff with how the channel has worked in recent times, I'll never forget the fact that it is directly you, the people who have supported this channel, who have allowed us to do things like go to Disneyland, go to Centre Parks, the Bournemouth trip, the Belgium trip. You know, all of that stuff is a direct result of the vlog, whether it's because they were sponsored videos that were part of the vlog. I mean, Centre Parks wouldn't have sent a Football Manager YouTuber to go and stay in Centre Parks for the weekend. So the fact that we were able to build up an audience here is what allowed us to do that. That was a fantastic family experience. And there's countless things like that we never would have had the opportunity to do if it wasn't for this channel. So I massively appreciate everybody who's ever been a part of this. If you are disappointed with the changes that are going to happen, I'm sorry if I misled you. I hope it's clear that it wasn't deliberate, and I've just struggled a lot with what I should do with this channel for a long time. And for the first time in a long time, I'm really clear about what I want to do. And I think if you give it a chance, you probably will enjoy it. But I know some people probably won't, and that's fine too. But the almost 3 years of daily vlogging on this channel have been definitely an experience. I've learned a lot about myself, about the world, about YouTube, about family, about people. And I wouldn't change the fact that I did it. I think that's the important thing. There's a lot of things in my life that I've done that I wouldn't necessarily do again. I'm fairly confident I'll never daily vlog again for as long as I live. But I did it for nearly 3 years. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot doing it. And I think the stuff that I'm going to go on to make in 2020 will be as good as it's going to be because of what I've learned over the last 3 years. So it was absolutely worth it. Thank you to those of you who came along with the journey with me, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I did open the end of my coffee advent calendar, by the way. This was the mug that came at the end. It has no handle and a little spout. Do you drink out of the spout? No idea. Thank you very much for watching.